Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here, and as you all know, 2013 is now well underway. Normally this time of year I do a video about how Bakugan's been doing, giving them kind of a year-end report, but here's the thing. Nothing happened in America concerning Bakugan this year. I mean, it's still going okay in Japan thanks to Bakutech, and Europe's still getting some stuff, but here in North America we got diddly squat. Instead, we got to watch the painful death of Redikai, along with several other Spin Master boondoggles like Nanospeed and Crazy Cubes. And Squishy Bath, really. I mean, some of Spin Master's standard stuff, like of course, Air Hogs and Tech Deck did fine, and La-Di-Da did okay, so I guess Spin Master gets a D- this year, rather than an F, for how they did this year, but otherwise they weren't a terribly good investment. 2012, it was an okay year for toy reviews. It was my first year as a subsidized reviewer, and of course there were some gaps where I didn't do any reviews at all, and coming into the holidays it was hard for me to get stuff to do, but hopefully I'll be able to change all that in 2013. I'm going to Toy Fair in February, which is the biggest trade show in America dealing with toys, and hopefully I can get myself signed up for a whole bunch of reviews, and I'll just have so much stuff to review we can hardly believe it. That will hopefully be awesome. But, I figured for this New Year's video, since there's not really much to talk about concerning Bakugan in the United States, I figured I'd go over some stuff I didn't review this year. They might have been things I've been asked to review, or things I had at one point considered reviewing but didn't really get anywhere. Now, it has to be things I actually considered reviewing, so the guy who keeps asking me to do the beat 'em on thing, it's expensive to import those. It's $20 for this itty-bitty figure that fires like 1/6 the number that my revolver here does. And, you know, it's like I said, if it gets imported by a company, if Beat 'em On gets imported to the US again, I'll review it. Case closed. So that'll settle that right there, but that was something I wasn't considering reviewing because it hadn't been imported yet. What I'm going to go over on this list are things I had at least some point considered doing. So with that, let's get underway. Up first, we got Bay Wheels by Hasbro. I don't really like Bay Wheels. I've mentioned that a few times. I mentioned it in my Destroyer Dome review. I acted terrified when I saw the very, very real and true fact that is Bay Wheels Season 2 in my Christmas Future video. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering why I don't like them. Do I think they're a cheap cash-in by Hasbro based on Beyblade's popularity? Yeah. Is it because the anime is a very obvious rehashing of the Beyblade Metal Fight story, combined with characters that look like they were C-list Bakugan villains? Kinda, but that's really not why I don't like them. My reason for not liking Bay Wheels is very, very practical. They just flat out don't work. At least they don't work for me. What happens is with this launcher, whenever I try to launch the Bay Wheel, there's a ratchet in here that, rather than sending the Bay Wheel flying off into the distance, instead fires a whole bunch and it just kind of drops off harmlessly onto the ground. Part of that is because it uses the ratchet for the Beyblade launchers on the Bay Wheel launcher. Yeah, the same launcher to launch these dinky little tops they expect to use to launch these giant wheels, and that's just not really practical. I mean, they work great with the flow of gravity on the tops, but not really with the wheels. I mean, I have an actual flywheel set, the original flywheels, which are, of course, a tire that goes onto a large grip with a pull cord, and it works a whole lot better. And actually, I can definitely say, thanks to this, that it is definitely the ratchet system in here that's the problem. Because of how these things are sold, there's a large assembly on the launcher here that comes on. It's like a big old assembly here, and if you take it apart a little bit, you can attach just the ratchet and this launching cog onto it, and what do you know, when I tried to launch it, the ratchet fired a whole bunch and nothing happened. So the ratchet is definitely the problem. They need to fix that, maybe take a better look at the original flywheels and see what they can do, because really these Bay Wheels, they're trying to charge like two and a half times as much as they do for these regular flywheels, and that just doesn't fly. Anyway, moving on. Second on my list is Cardfight Vanguard. Cardfight Vanguard is another one I was really asked to go over a lot. It's another one of those trading card games that got imported from Japan, and one thing that makes it different is, you know, you got Magic the Gathering, they got creature cards, enchantments, sorceries, instants, lands, artifacts, all that stuff. You got Pokemon, they got basic Pokemon and evolution cards and trainers and energy cards and Yu-Gi-Oh! They've got monsters, spells, and traps. Cardfight Vanguard has exactly one card, and that is the monster card. I mean, I guess you could say that trigger monsters are a variant of monsters, but really there's only one creature type, and that's really all you get to play with. There's also a tie-in anime about this kid called Aichi Sendo who basically goes around and plays an otherwise mundane version of the game, although I guess there's he has some kind of super cheating powers that allows him to draw the cards he needs at the right time. Honestly, one of the reasons I didn't review Cardfight Vanguard is because I wasn't that big a fan of the anime. I mean, the first episode is basically instructions on how to play the game, and the second and third episodes were brainwashing. Basically, you know, the second episode says the only route to popularity is by playing our card game, and the third episode says you must buy the newest and best and most powerful cards or else you will lose to girls who have never played the game before. And that just didn't sit well with me. Now that I think about it, Baywheels Episode 2 was a similar kind of brainwashing of the same thing, only compressed into one episode. Those kinds of shows are honestly dangerous when they try to brainwash the kids into buying the product rather than, you know, presenting an exciting story. I mean, the first episode of Cardfight Vanguard didn't really have any stakes to it. I mean, it was a kid playing a game to get a card back, and he didn't even confront the person who stole it from him in the first place. It was just kind of instructions on how to play the game. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! That first episode at least had some stakes, because, you know, Kaiba, the villain, he had abducted, traumatized, and destroyed the prized possession of the main character's grandpa. Like, in front of him. He was like, oh, hey, is this your favorite card? It got ramped up. That had some stakes there. You had a reason to not like that guy. This guy in Cardfight Vanguard, I can't remember his name. He didn't really have a reason to not be likable, other than, and in fact they had this guy saying, "Oh no, he's not evil like that. He's totally not interesting and broody like Kaiba is. He's totally a boring, safe guy." You know, it was just ridiculous. Reason number 2 is that, I did buy some packs, and of all the packs I got, I mean, I got, like, 2 Spike Brother cards, I got 3 Kagero cards, I got, like, 11 of these cards from Oracle Think Tank, and my shiniest cards, the one with, like, 5 R's printed on them, or 3 R's on them, are all from Oracle Think Tank, and Oracle Think Tank was supposed to be the 4th starter deck released, and that didn't happen. It's not coming out until the 25th of this month as the 7th starter deck. I don't know why they delayed that deck like that, but that was the reason. That was the excuse I was going to use to maybe try to play the game, but they've delayed it for so long, I don't know if I will now, even with all my good cards. Thirdly, we have Winx Club, which I assure you is the only solidly girls' toy on this list. Winx Club has actually been around a while. I actually used to catch it occasionally when it was on these mysterious things called Saturday morning cartoons that would appear on syndicated television that you guys might have never heard of. And one of them, it's like the Winx Club came on before Pokemon, so I caught it frequently. It's kind of like Sailor Moon, only Italian. With fairies and stuff. They started putting it out again on Nickelodeon. It used to be dubbed by 4Kids of all people, and now it's done by a different group and shown on Nickelodeon, and they put out a new line of toys for it, and I was gonna try to see if I can get my hands on some of that, but interesting story, midway through the exchange of me trying to get that stuff, Jax suddenly stopped using the public relations company I was talking to, so that's why that got delayed, along with some other stuff like Monsuno and Scatterbrains. I tried to see if I could get a whole string of reviews from them, but because they dropped that PR company, that just kind of happened. I'll see if I can get online with somebody from Jax and see if I can pick up from there, seeing if I can just complete that, just to see if I can get some stuff, but it's kind of been difficult. Fourthly, we have Ninjago, which is a line by LEGO where the LEGO figures stand on these little top things and you spin them into each other and they smash into each other, and that's basically the game there. It's similar to Beyblades in that regard. You try to knock the other characters off. Anyway, I was asked a lot to do Ninjago, and one of the reasons I didn't is because, you know, I think it's kind of an average series. You know, I wasn't gonna... I'm not terribly keen on it. I think it's a bit expensive, but I wasn't going to do a big scathing review of something I don't feel passionate hatred for, like Redekai or something like that. So I just felt it was better to maybe hold off. That, and secondly, they held off on updating any of the undead characters, and since I run Cruncha, that's actually kind of important to me because he uses the skeleton arm strategy. What I've got is I use Cruncha, who actually has some really good stats. He's got 100 fire, 100 lightning, but 400 in rock and ice, which allows him to use a really good strategy that I call smash and grab. What you do is you use it along with cut and run, which allows you to avoid losing once by sacrificing a skeleton arm, which means only an undead character can do it. I use sacrifice, which if I give up a skeleton arm as well, I can give up 2 arms, I have to. I can steal a second weapon when I win. I follow that up with a special edition Flame Pit you could get at Toys R Us. It doesn't have a gold weapon on there, and it only costs 100 fire to use, which Cruncha just barely goes for, which allows me to get a win if you land on it. And I finish it off with Gold Smash, which allows me to counter a gold card. So my strategy means I only have to win twice, I can afford to lose once, and I have a card to make it easier for you to lose, and I stop the first gold card you play. So I've got a pretty decent deck, and the new line of Ninjago, the stuff for the Invasion of the Snakes, it hasn't really put out anything new for me, so I don't really feel the reason to do it. That, and I'm saving a lot of my Lego ammunition for Chima, which came out a couple of days ago. Also, one thing that got me about Ninjago is I've kind of seen it before. It's a show about 4 color-coded ninjas who are trained by their master in the ancient ninja arts. You got the guy with the sword, you got the guy with the long stick, I think you got the guy with the nunchucks, and you got the guy who dual wields the things with 3 pointy bits. Oh, we haven't seen that before. Speaking of which, the #1 toy I did not review this year, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Wow, this is crazy. Part of it is because I couldn't reach Playmates, but the other big thing is, even if I wanted to go out and buy these myself to review them, it was impossible. It was like the 1980s again. I have never seen a single completed episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in my life, but this is so popular that it is sold out everywhere. I cannot even find Krang or April O'Neil figures. It's sold out that well. Not even like the little foot ninja guys. They're all gone. It's apparently insanely popular. I still want to review them. I'm going to try to get in contact with Playmates to see if I can do that, but until some actual stock appears, I just can't do that. But I'm definitely interested in doing it, so hopefully we'll be able to see that sometime. Well, those are the things I couldn't really get around to last year. Hopefully this coming year I'll be able to do all sorts of awesome stuff. Like in particular, I'm going to go see if I can increase my clout a little bit at Toy Fair. I am getting about 100,000 views a month, and I think I'm at up to 2 million views by now, probably. Because that's pretty awesome there. I'm a decent middleweight now, if you consider the Toy Spy and a Tamae to be the heavyweights. I'm gunning for them. So anyway, that's Happy New Year, and until next time, this is Kohdok signing off.